Hi, my name is Katherine Frances Wolfe and I'm 62 and I came through Goa Airport on the 29th of January 2023 after visiting a friend. I came through on a wheelchair. I have mobility problems. I've had a triple ankle fusion in my left foot. I have chronic arthritis in my right foot, and I've had a spinal fusion, and so I can't carry heavy weights, and I have I'm registered as having mobility issues in England. When I came through, my friend Mikkel got the special assistance for me, and a young slim guy in a dark grey or black t-shirt was pushing my wheelchair, and then someone else came to pull my suitcase. I think that guy was a slightly bigger build, and from memory, which I hope is right, I thought he was wearing a greenish t-shirt. They pushed me, and then the guy who was pulling the suitcase, as we got to the place where you put the suitcase on the conveyor belt, he stood in front of the wheelchair. So he was standing in front of me, and he said, "Now you have to tip me." I hadn't realised, so I had my passport in a special folder that also had money, and I'd saved what was the equivalent of 30 English pounds so that I could get a coffee and I could get something to eat for the flight, because I knew it was a 10.5-hour flight and it was going to be a long day. So I said, okay, so I took out a 500 note, which is the equivalent of £5 in English money, and he just didn't move. He just stood in front of me and said, "That's not enough." And I said, "Well, it's the equivalent of £5 in English money, it's 500. I don't know. This is a 100 note. It was the equivalent of 5 of those." He said, "No, it's not enough." And I said, "Also, the guy pushing the wheelchair, I want to give him some money." And he said, no, you don't tip me." So I thought, oh, okay. So the guy pushing me in the wheelchair couldn't continue to push me, because the guy who bought the suitcase was standing in front of the wheelchair. So because he was standing in front, we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go anywhere till he moved. He wasn't going to move until he'd got the money that he wanted. And he could see when I opened my passport that I still had Indian money in. So I gave him another 500 note, which I then knew that I'd given him the equivalent of 10 English pounds. He said, "No, it's not enough. Not enough." And I said, and I was thinking, surely £10, 2 500 notes is enough for pulling my wheelchair. He said, "It's not enough." And he made it clear, he just stood there, he made it clear that he wasn't going to move because he didn't consider it enough. And if he didn't move, the guy pushing me couldn't push me anywhere. We were just stuck there if he wasn't going to go. So I gave him another 500. He said, "It's not enough." I gave him another 500. "It's not enough." He stayed there till he could see I'd taken all of my Indian money out of, and there was no more Indian money left. It was 500 notes. It's 6 500 notes, the equivalent of 30 English pounds. I was very upset because I thought, if upstairs doesn't take English money for coffee or something to eat, I now can't have coffee or anything to eat, because this guy wouldn't leave until he'd taken all of my money from me. So then the guy pushing the wheelchair that had said to me, "No, you don't tip me," we put my suitcase through, and then we went in the escalator to go upstairs. And when we were in the escalator and the door shut, there was only me and him, and nobody could see us. And then he said to me, "Now you give me English money." And I thought, wow, downstairs When I'd said I wanted to split my money to give both of them something, he said, oh, you don't tip me. But then when we got in the escalator, he said, you give me English money now. Now you give me English money. I only had £10 notes on me. So he knew I could only give him a £10 note because it was all I had. I couldn't do anything because I was on my own in an escalator with somebody telling me that I have to give him money. So I gave him £10. So that worked out that in effect I'd given £40 English for the special assistance service. When I booked the flight to Goa, which was £850, there'd been nothing in the literature that said that to get special assistance I would have to pay £40, but I did. I got upstairs and they didn't take English money for coffee or anything to eat. So he left me there, and then I just burst into tears because I didn't even have enough money for a cup of coffee because they'd taken everything from me. So I just sat in my wheelchair crying. And then when they came to take people on the flight, for some reason they took everybody first except me. And then they were letting all the able-bodied people go on. And someone came across, not a worker at the airport, one of the English people on the flight, and said, would you like my husband to push you onto the flight? Because they could see I was just there on my own. They'd taken all the special assistance people on. I was the last person, even though I wasn't the last person to be taken up there. And I was sitting there with no money. I felt absolutely terrible. I wanted to get a cup of coffee. I couldn't even do that. So then the people at the check-in with the boarding pass said, no, we'll take her down. And what they actually did was they took me down, not last, but almost last. Nearly all the disabled passengers had been taken on, and nearly all the able-bodied people. And by the time I was taken on, the air hostess was saying, can you help me close this, and can you do this, and can you, things that I physically can't do, because I arrived as one of the last people. So they thought I was an able-bodied person and I should start lifting suitcases and shifting things around. I couldn't do that. I'd lost all my money. I felt really bullied by these two men. But standing in front of the wheelchair meant that it couldn't be pushed anywhere until he'd taken all of my money. And so I just sat on the plane and burst into tears. I sent my friend a lot of messages and I said, I just want to get out of here, it's so horrible. Well, he didn't get them because he had asked the guy if he could put WhatsApp on my phone when I was upstairs, and the guy had said yes, but he tried to do something to my phone, but anyway, I didn't have WhatsApp, so my friend didn't get the messages. And so that was that. So it was a really horrible experience, and it's a horrible experience because you're vulnerable. You lose all your dignity. I had two men over me make it clear that they weren't going to the guy pushing me just stopped when the guy in front said, no, I need more money, I need more money, I need more money. He just stopped and let the guy in front harass me till he had every bit of my Indian money. So I couldn't even get a cup of coffee when I went upstairs. The plane was late and I had to stay upstairs in that cold, and I couldn't even get something to drink because between the two of them they'd taken all my money.